Microphone's right here, okay?
I know. I might be too short to push it.
No, Brody can bend it.
Or even like it. Or even like it.
I'll tell you. Brody starts talking.
You're okay, Delaney. Who doesn't like paper cuts? World.
All right, good morning, everybody. Boker Tov to everybody out there in Facebook land joining us this morning for our Shabbat service led by Mr. Brody Harris. So today, if you are following along with us at home, hopefully most of you have received a link in advance for the online prayer book. We're going to be following along with the blue bracketed numbers. If you are in need of that prayer book, you can open up another tab on your computer. Go to tbsoc.com/video. Right below the video box there, which is not live this morning, you'll see a link there that says "Take me to the Mishkan Tefillah online." That will also give you the ability to follow along this morning. And so sit back and relax for the next couple of hours. And this year has certainly been an adventure. It's an adventure certainly for us setting up this service this morning outdoors, but we are blessed with such a beautiful morning to celebrate with you and your family today, Brody. And I'm really grateful for that. We'll be talking about gratitude and being grateful, highly appropriate this weekend as we're celebrating so many things, including this week of Thanksgiving. So we're first going to warm up our mind, body, spirit, and our voice as we join in this nigun. A nigun is a melody that has no specific words. We just sing on the syllables Yelelai, so we can focus on how the music makes us feel. So please join in with me as we sing this nigun with a smile. La 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 So we are outdoors today. If you are not here in California, I know things are different in every single state. The state of California has sent us outdoors, but luckily we live in a state of golden sunshine here, and that is shining upon us today. The wind has calmed down, and so it's nice for us to be gathered here together. And we say hello to all of your friends and family that are watching out there in Facebook. And later on today, I'm sure you guys will go and you'll get to see the many messages that people have sent you throughout the day. And we'll hear from a couple people also on the service that are joining us via live Zoom here. So Brody has spent so many months, not just months, but really years training and learning Hebrew and preparing for this moment. And so we're really excited to be here as you culminate that journey that takes you to this day. For all of us here, we always like to do a little show and tell. So those of us that are here using our prayer books have transliteration in them. But Brody can now show us. We won't be able to get like a really zoom in on your book. If you show it to everybody here, you can show it on the camera. Brody's book has no transliteration because he has been filling his brain with tons of Hebrew over the past months in particular. So he is up to the challenge. It is traditional when a boy becomes a bar mitzvah, when a girl becomes a bat mitzvah, at this moment to receive your first talit. The talit represents the 613 commandments as we look at the fringes on the corners. So it is my honor to call up your grandparents, Jan and Barbara Dudman, to present to you your first talit.
Hi, Brody. We're so proud of you and so thrilled to be reaching this day of celebration. Not exactly what we hoped, but it's still a milestone in your life and in our lives as well. About 6 years ago, when you were just a little squirt, we went to Israel and we were walking through Jerusalem on Ben Yehuda Street. We come to the Talit shop and I said, he's going to be a man before we know it. And there you are. So I picked out the prettiest, manliest Talit I could find. And there you go. We're so proud and happy for you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu b'liv hatif v'sisit.
Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has commanded us to wrap ourselves in the fringes representing the commandments. Amen. Wear it in good health. We have so many things to be grateful for today and this week in general. So as we begin this moment in this service, take a moment to think about something that you are grateful for, stemming off of our Thanksgiving holiday, like a feeling, a thought, the ability to celebrate today with Brody, and hold that within you as we take ourselves into this service today and carry it forward throughout the rest of the day. We join together now in this prayer of thanksgiving, of gratitude. It's Moda Ani, that's on page 186. Moda Ani lefanecha, melech chaim v'tayam, v'hesed zatav, v'yishmati v'hemlam, Rabba emunatecha, Rabba emunatecha, Mote angilet vatecha, Melech Rabba emunatecha, Rabba emunatecha. All right, and now it is my pleasure to call up the brother and sister of the bar mitzvah, to call up Cooper and Delaney to share with your brother some very special words.
Speaking of my
Congratulations, Brody, on your bar mitzvah. We're so proud of you. Cooper, does this mean he's a man now? Well, in the eyes of Joshua, yes. It's strange to say he's a man. His mom says she's only 29. Does that mean he gets to make rules and stuff now? No, he's still only 13. Maybe when he gets a driver's license and a car and job, he can drive us around and buy stuff. Well, we have known Brody for 7 years now, and he has been a great big brother. He makes us breakfast, we watch movies, and play video games, and laugh and goof around. But he's always there for us. He loves baseball and teaches me to play baseball. He helps us and loves us a lot, and we love him. Mitzvah of Brody. Great job.
Thank you so much, Cooper and Delaney. Thank you for writing such an original.
I was our mom.
We are going to turn to page 224 as we take ourselves into Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgada v'yitkada shemei Rabam, v'almad yirach v'ruteh, v'yamlik malkuteh, v'chayechonu v'mechonu v'chayetechu beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kaviv v'yivehu. Amen. V'hei shmei Rabba v'barach, ve'alam ulam me'almayah v'barach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yibarach v'kama v'yivaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei l'kusham. B'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram v'alema v'yimeruhu. Amen. We rise for our call to prayer, Baruch Hu, page 226. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Amen. Now Brody will continue leading us on page 228.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or uvarei hoshech, osei shalom uvarei et hakol, ha'ameir la'aretz v'ladamir alecha barachamim, uvtuvo mechadesh v'kol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit, ma'rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, malach ha'aretz kinyanecha, titit farach Adonai Eloheinu, al shuvech ma'aseh yedecha, ve'al ma'orei or shiasita, yefa'arucha selah.
Or Chadash, Atzion Tahir, Or Chadash, Atzion Tahir, Or Chadash, הציון תהילו חדש, הציון תהילו ונזכה כולנו להיראה לאורו, ונזכה כולנו להיראה לאורו. אור חדש, הציון תהילו אור חדש, הציון תהילו.
Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzei Hama Orut. Please join me on page 231. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, you said, and light blinded we saw that inner and outer worlds are one, as you are one. You spoke and we wrote, we reached for you down centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back and climbed again, your Sinai of life. Baruch atah Adonai, ha-boher be'amo, Yisrael be'ahava.
Amen. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shemo Malchuto Elamai. Baruch Shemo Malchuto Elamai. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. We continue chanting together the Via Hafta on page 234. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meutecha ve'chayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Shinantan levanecha v'divar bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha ba'derech u'v'shoktecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'chayu letotafot b'neinecha u'ktavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tiskeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'chitem kidoshim le'Elohehem. Ani Adonai Elohehem Asher Hotzeitichem me'eretz Miskarayim Liliotachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohehem. We continue on page 240 singing the Mechamocha.
La 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 Kamocha ba'elim Adonai, kamocha neda b'kodesh, Nora tehilot oseh tevet, Nora tehilot oseh tevet. Shira Hadasha Shivetu Gerulim Leshimcha Asifat Hayam Yachad Kulam Hodu Vehimlichu Ve'amenu Adonai Lo Le'olam Va'ed Adonai Lo Le'olam Sur Yisrael, we all rise. Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael. Ufetechi le'umecha. Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go aleinu Adonai tzivaot shemo. Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai. Ga'al Yisrael. We continue on page 242 with the Amidah. Adonai sifatai titach ufia kitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 244. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, ומביאו לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר מושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, לחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא כהנים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו בשני עפר. בי כמוך בגבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומטמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. Page 248. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, כך כתוב יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, נמלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא יבוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Brody, I'll let you close the ark as everybody else may be seated as we turn to page 250. We'll join in these words that remind us of the importance of this day, this song and prayer, Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael eretz Shabbat. לעשות את השבת וגדולותם בגדולה ושמרו בני ישראל ארץ השבת לעשות את השבת וגדולותם בגדולה ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל ארץ השבת לעשות את השבת וגדולותם בגדולה כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל ארץ השבת לעשות את השבת וגדולותם בגדולה וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל ארץ השבת, לעשות את השבת וגדולותם.
We continue on page 252. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imutenu, Versei v'nuhatenu, kadeshenu b'mitzvotecha, v'tein hokenu v'toratecha, sabachenu mituvecha, v'samachenu b'yuatecha, v'tacher lebenu, avodecha be'emet, v'hanhilenu, Adonai Eloheinu, be'aha uratzon Shabbat kodeshecha, V'yanuhu va Yisrael Mkadesh Shemecha Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
We continue on page 254. Risei Adonai Eloheinu Risei Adonai Eloheinu Be'amcha Yisrael Utafilatam Be'aha Tikobel Uti Ratzon Tamid Avodat Yisrael Amecha Al Kaor Lekol Korav Penei El Avodecha Vechanenu Shuvecha Shuvecha Ruhecha Aleinu V'tehezena Yinehu B'shuvecha Let Zion Berachamim Baruch atah Adonai Hamahazer Shikinatov Le Zion.
Amen.
Please join me on page 257. For the expanding grandeur of creations, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations. Modi Manach Nulach. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons. Modi Manach Nulach. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. Modi Manach Nulach. for human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity, capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. Modim anachnu for high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared. Modim anachnu for all who have labored and suffered for the fairer world, who have lived so others might live in dignity and freedom. Modim anachnu for human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose. Modim anachnu we pray that we may live not by our fears but by our hopes, not by our words but by our deeds. Bless you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov, shemecha, rucha, na'eh, lehodot.
Amen. We take ourselves from that prayer of thanksgiving and gratitude to this prayer of peace, sim shalom, at page 258. Sim shalom, tova v'racha, teva chesed v'racha v'ifalenu, ve'ako Yisrael, amecha. Alleluia, Seinu kulanu kefar, levofandecha. Levofandecha natzalanu, Adonai Eloheinu. Sing shalom, tova v'bracha. Eva chesed v'rachamim aleinu. Ve'ako Yisrael, amecha. Torah chayim, ve'ahavat chesed, ve'ahavat chesed, u'tzedakah u'bracha ve'rachamim, v'chayim ve'shalom. Sing shalom, sing shalom, tova v'bracha. Eva chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu. Ve'ako Yisrael, amecha. Ve'tov me'elecha, ve'varech et amcha Yisrael, le'olet u'hosha'ah b'shalomecha. Sing shalom, tova v'bracha. Eva chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu. Ve'ako Yisrael, amecha. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom.
We continue in silent meditation.
Yehi ratzon lefi, le'yon libi lefanecha. Yehi ratzon lefi, le'yon libi lefanecha. Adonai So this takes us to the center of our service, and the center of our service is the service for the reading of Torah. So in just a few moments, we will begin with that. We will take our Torah out and we will surround all of you with Torah. Even those of you at home, we're going to surround you virtually with Torah. And I'm going to leave much of what is to be said and to be learned from the Torah today to Brody, because Brody has spent time studying this portion, is going to share with us some special words a little bit later. But this portion is one that's really special throughout the entire reading cycle, and it's one of the most prominent stories within Genesis. This is the heart of the story of our forefather Jacob. And we're going to learn more about the dream that Jacob has and some very special symbols that appear in that dream. We'll be learning about that a little bit later. And I will leave it to what you hear when we're reading the Torah and to what Brody's going to be sharing with us. But it's a pleasure to get to hear these words today in this quite famous story. We're going to turn to page 362 now, as we begin our Seder Kriyat HaTorah, our service in order for reading the Torah. Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein k'ma'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol abim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, Adonai oz lamo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. Av harachabim hetiva v'tzonecha et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, Ki mecha levad batachnu, Melech Elam v'nisa Adon olamim. So it is my pleasure to call up to join you, Brody, your dad, Craig, and your grandfather, Jan. We're going to have you guys stand all together at the front here. So I'll have you, why don't you step outside the tent so that way there's a little bit more space there. You can be really close to the camera. You can say hello to everybody. And I'm going to take the Torah out. So you can go to the left of your dad. Well, your dad's right. We continue singing together on page 364. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Udivar Adonai Yerushalayim. In this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. Page 366, Baruch Shenatan. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadol Adonai Iti Unerom Ema Shemo Yachtav. So it's my pleasure to bring this Torah to you, Jan. If you want to hang on to it, I know you wanted to say a few words.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Brody. Your grandmother and I are so proud of you. You worked very hard for your bar mitzvah today. You're doing a wonderful job. And it's my honor to pass this Torah down to your father and to yourself as a symbol of our heritage, of our religion, of our traditions as contained in the Torah. And I stand here as a representative of your forefathers. Your mother is very involved in genealogy, and she's been able to trace the Dudman line to your great, 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 great grandfather, Benjamin Dudman, who lived in Eastern Europe. His son, Meyer, carried on the traditions. Unfortunately, he perished in the Holocaust, but he was able to transfer and to teach his son, Nathan, my grandfather, about the Torah. Nathan left Eastern Europe at age 18 in 1909 and came to the United States. And he passed Torah on to his son, my father David, to me, and then to your mother. And now it's my honor to pass this on to you in the hope that you pass the learning and the teachings of the Torah to your children, and that you one day will stand here in this task and hand the Torah to your children at their bar and bat mitzvah. And then one day that you'll be able to stand in my place as a grandfather to do the same thing. So I hand this to your father in our long 5,000-year tradition, pass it on to you.
Brody, I'll be seeing a little bit more later on, but I just want to say how much I love you and how proud I am. And this is
And now Brody will surround us with Torah as we sing Lecha Adonai. Lecha Adonai hagidula, v'hagivura, v'hatiferet, v'hanetzach, v'hahod. Ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, v'hamitnaseh lechol lerosh. Al shlosha divarim, al shlosha divarim, al shlosha divarim ha'olam omed. Al shlosha divarim, al shlosha divarim, al shlosha divarim ha'olam omed. You may be seated, whether you're here or at home. If you're standing at home, you can be seated too. So if you are at home, and if you are a friend or family member, then you hopefully have received that PDF, which is going to help you follow along with the text that we're reading this morning. For those of us that are here in person, I print those out for you. So we're going to begin at the very beginning of this portion. So we're going to see the beginning of this story, and then when Brody reads, he'll be reading the very end, as it is traditional for a bar mitzvah to read the last paragraph, the maftir of the portion. So for our first Aliyah, returning to the Amud here, to the Torah stand, we call Juliana Thomason, Elisheva Bat Adam U'Malchachana, And reading our English translation will be Mary and Gary Hanyu. Ya amdu l'Aliyah harishona. Alright, you can come up here if you want to, and you can stand here at this mic. That way, we'll be able to project your voice so that people can hear you at home as well. Alright. So, Juliana, if you want to mark this first word here with your corner fringe seats. You're an expert at this now. All right, we'll close our Torah scroll and we can do the blessing. Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Adonai Hamra Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen. Vayetze Yaakov mibe'er Shava, Vayelech Charanam, Vayifga b'makom, Vayalin sham, Ki va hashemesh, Vayikach mi'avnei hamakom, Vayasem mera'ashtotav, Vayishka b'makom ahu, Vayachalom, V'hine sulam mutzav artza, V'rosho magia hashamayma, V'hine malachei Elohim olim v'yoredim bo. V'hine Adonai nitzav alav, Vayomer ani Adonai Elohei Avraham avicha, Elohei Yitzchak, haaretz asher ata sholchei v'aleha lecha, etinena uzarecha, v'haya zaracha, ka'afar haaretz ufaratzka, yam havakedma v'tzafona v'negba, v'nivrechu v'cha kol mishpechot ha'adama, uv zarecha, v'hine anochi imach, Ushmarticha bechol asher telech, v'hashivoticha el ha'adama hazot, ki lo e'ezocha ad asher imasiti et asher dibarti lach. All right, now we will have the translation. You might have to get a little bit closer with this mic. There we go.
Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. He came upon a certain place and stopped there for the night, for the sun had set. Taking one of the stones of that place, he put it under his head and lay down in that place. He had a dream. A stairway was set on the ground, and its top reached to the sky, and angels of God were going up and down on it. And God was standing beside him, and God said, I am Adonai, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. The ground on which you are lying I will give to you and your offspring. Your descendants shall be the dust of the earth. You shall spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south, and all the families of the earth shall bless themselves by you and your descendants. Remember, I am with you. I will protect you wherever you go and will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you.
Thank you. And now, Juliana, we'll have you mark the last word that I just read. It's right here. Okay. And then we'll go to closing blessing.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'Hayei Olam Natan B'Tochenu Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen. Yasser Koach, thank you so much. All right. For our second Aliyah, we are going to be having our blessing read via Zoom by Samantha and Josh. So we'll let them unmute themselves. I'm going to go a little bit closer just so I can see you guys over there. And reading the English translation. All right. So I'll send it over to you, Samantha and Josh. All right, you guys can go ahead.
Baruch Adonai Hamvara.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarak Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarak Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayikatz Yaakov Mishnato Vayomar Achen Yesh Adonai B'makom Hazeh Vanochi Lo Yadati Vayira Vayomar Manora Hamakom Hazeh Ein Zeh Ki Im Beit Elohim V'zeh Sha'ar Hashemayim Vayashkem Yaakov Baboker Vayikach Et HaEven Asher Sam Mira'ashotav Vayasem Otah Matseva Vayitzok Shemen Al Rosha Vayikra et Shem Hamakom Hahu Beit El Ve'ulam Luz Sham Ha'ir Larishona.
Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, "Surely this is the place, and I did not know it." Shaken, he said, "How awesome is this place! This is none other than the abode of God, and that it is the gateway to heaven." Early in the morning, Jacob took the stone that he had put under his head and set it up as a pillar and poured oil on the top of it. He named that site Bethel, but previously the name of the city had been Luz.
All right, I will mark the last word for you for Samantha and Josh. All right, and we'll send it back to you out there in Zoom land. And Brody, if you want to go, you can go stand right there. You can see they're up in the top corner.
Yeah.
All right. You guys can go ahead.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasser Koach, thank you.
Thank you.
Bridge the gap of wherever we are. We're all here together virtually, which is amazing with the technology these days. Let's mark our portions with these little post-its, and my nails are long enough to get them. There we go. All right. For our third Aliyah, we call for our blessing Amy Harris, Chana Migdalia Bat Yosef Mordechai, Batya, and Craig Harris, Yisrael Abraham, and reading the English translation will be Barbara Dedman. Ya'amdu Aliyah Hashlishit. This is our first word here if you want to mark that with your tallies. Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayidar Yaakov Neder Lemor. Im Yihye Elohim imadi ush marani bederech hazeh asher anochi holech v'natan li lechem le'echol uveged lilvosh v'shavti bashalom el beit avi v'haya Adonai li le'elohim v'ha'even hazot asher samti matzeva yihye beit Elohim v'chol asher titain li Aser esrenu lach. All right, we'll bring Barbara forward to do the translation.
Jacob then made a vow, saying, "If God remains with me, if God protects me on this journey that I am making, and gives me bread to eat and clothing to wear, and if I return safe to my father's house, Adonai shall be my God. And this stone, which I have set up as a pillar, shall be God's abode. And of all that you give me, I will set aside a tithe for you."
All right. Craig, if you want to mark this last word right there, the first on the bottom of the column. And the closing blessing.
Torah emet, Chaye olam ata b'zochinu, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu haTorah.
Amen. You guys get to stay here because you get the front row view as we call Brody the Torah in just a moment once we roll the Torah. So that's the beginning of the portion. Now you're going to get the very end. We didn't call you. You got to go back over there. It's for dramatic effect. It's like we don't know you're over there yet. We'll surprise everybody. He might be reading Torah if we call him.
Okay.
And now, Ya Amud Habachur Habar Mitzvah Baruch Chaim Ben Yisrael Abraham V'Chana Migdalia Aliyah HaTorah. That means we want you to read Torah today. Okay. So you're going to come over here to the Torah in the center here. I'm going to move to the side. Move this card out of the way. And first we're going to mark that first word. And now,
Baruch Adonai Hambarach. Baruch Adonai Hambarach Elam Ba'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim. V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Notein HaTorah. Vayashkem Laban Baborker Vayashek Levanav Veliv Notav Vayavarech Etem Vayelech Vayashov Lavan Limkomo Vayakov Halach Ladarko Vaifgeuvo Malache Elohim Vayo Omer Vayakov Kaasher Ra'am Machadne Elohim Zeh Vayikra Shem Hakom Hahu Machanayim. Early in the morning, Laban kissed his sons and daughters and bade them goodbye. Then Laban left on his journey onward. Jacob went his way, and the angels of God encountered him. When he saw him, Jacob said, "This is God's camp." So he named this place Machanayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nansan b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
We all say Yasher Koach. We can say that together. Yasher Koach, which means may you have great strength. It's a way of wishing you great blessing when you do something well. and not only saying good job, but that may your strength carry you forward in all the days to come. So I'm going to send your parents back to their seats for the present moment, but we'll have them back up here in just a bit. You can hang out here for a moment, Brody, because it's traditional for us to offer a blessing of healing, Misha Berach, for healing whenever we're in the presence of the Torah. You can find these words on page 371. Misha Berach Avotenu v'Imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivcha Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech et Acholim. We think of all of those who are in need of healing, and we also send great strength to those who take care of them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Alehem V'Hachal Imam L'Rapotam V'L'Hachazikam V'Yishlach Lahem Behera Refuah Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf Hashta Ba'Gala V'Zman Karev V'Nomar Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah bless and heal all of those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say together, Amen. So, these days, we're not only teaching our students how to read Torah and how to read Hebrew, but the new tradition that I've started is that I think all of our students need to learn, at least need to experience at least once, how to lift the Torah, right? So let me take off that last post of the secret out. We usually don't tell people what we're taking out here, but it's taking me so long. So, see if you're a bar mitzvah, you got it. See, you have to be a bar mitzvah to take the post-it off the Torah. So let me take your book. I'll move that away from here. And we're going to ask everybody to rise as Brody is going to lift the Torah for us. Remember, we're going to take it halfway back. וזאת התורה ששם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. ילה לה לילה, ילה לה לילה, ילה לה לילה, ילה לה לה, יש כוח. ילה לה לה, ילה לה לה לה, ילה לה 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 לה. Yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la la yalla la la yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la 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 yalla la la yalla la la yalla la 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 yalla la 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 ya la 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 la. All right, you may be seated here and at home, except for Brody. You're not done yet, because it's time for the Haftarah section. So the Haftarah is just under there on the left. Once you're ready, I'll let you introduce it.
The Haftarah for Parshat Beit Say is Hosea, chapter 14, verses 1 through 10. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol asher bahar banim tovim v'rasa v'tirehem hanemarim ba'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Avoher beTorah u'Moshe avdo u'V'Israel amo u'V'Invi'echa emet v'tzedek. Tesham Shomron Ki Marta Beloheha Bacherev Yipolu Olelechem Yirutashu Vichariotav Shuvach Yisrael Ad Adonai Elohecha Ki kashalta be'avonecha Kehu imarchem devarim veshuvu el Adonai imarun elav kol tisa avon lechachtov shalom afarim Sifatenu. Samaria must bear her guilt, for she has defied her God. They shall fall by the sword, their infants shall be dashed to death, and their women with child ripped open. Return, O Israel, to Adonai your God, for you have fallen because of your sin. Take words with you and return to Adonai. Say to God, forever all guilt, and accept what is good. Instead of bulls, we will pray, the offering of our lips. Assyria shall not save us. No more will we ride on steeds, nor ever again will we hear our hands work our God. Since in you alone orphans find pity, I will heal their affliction. Generously I will take them back in love, for my anger has turned them away. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sor kol haolamim Sadik bechol haorod Ha'el ha'ne'eman Ha'omer ve'oseh Ha'damaber u'mekayem Shekol devarav emet v'tzedek El HaTorah ve'el ha'avodah ve'el ha'vi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likedusha v'limenucha lekavod ufetiv aretz al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach Barakim otach yitbarach shimcha befi kol hai tamiv le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. Yashikoah. Oh, great. So we're going to take ourselves back to the service for returning the Torah to the Ark as we turn to page 374. And Brody, I'll give you the task of opening the Ark for us as we all rise. Hodu al haaretz v'shamayim vayarem keren le'amo tehila lechol chasidav livnei Yisrael am kirovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Eitz chayim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomcheha meushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu Kikedem. You may be seated. Now, Brody's going to share with us the words of his Devar Torah as he teaches us about this portion and shares with us other beautiful things he would like to teach us today.
Shalom. In my Torah portion, say, we begin with Jacob, who is lying down having a dream. In that dream, there are angels, and the angels are going up and down on a ladder which goes to the heavens. When Jacob wakes up, he feels different. He feels inspired. In Jewish tradition, angels are viewed from messengers from God, and our dreams represent our innermost thoughts. In Jacob's dream, they represent his fears and anxiety as he is far from home and doesn't know what his future holds. The angels going up represent the positive things. The angels going down represent the negative. Many people in the world don't know that angels are important symbols in Judaism. In the Torah, they often appear as ordinary humans. Angels often appear to Abraham and Moses. When angels appear, these characters are often in moments of struggle or danger. Every single week when Shabbat begins, we imagine Shabbat enters like a bride escorted by two angels. The angel's message is shalom, peace. Take a look at the picture over here.
You've got one there too.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't
Bottom
know.
right.
Alright,
Here's the picture.
take a look at this picture, or that picture. What do you see? Our ark is designed to have two angels on the door. This ark has never been changed and is the original from when this building was built. Yeah, no, it was in there. There is also history about angels that relate to the state of California and Los Angeles, and of course, my favorite thing, the angels. The city of Los Angeles was established in 1781. Its name means City of Angels. When that city has held a bunch of sports teams from the Lakers to the Rams, the Dodgers, the Kings, and more recently, the Chargers. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, or Los Angeles Angels, have been playing in Major League Baseball since 1961. They were originally the Los Angeles Angels and played at Chavez Ravine or Dodger Stadium. The original owner was Gene Autry, an actor, a cowboy, and a singer. He bought the Angels towards the end of his career, and when they arrived in Anaheim, they became the California Angels in 1965, after moving to their newly built stadium. Decades and victorious names later, they are now the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, but still play in the same stadium in my hometown of Anaheim. So little Angel history to know. The 2008-2009 season are probably the most important in their history, not because they won a World Series or anything, but because of who they drafted. In 2008, they were trying to make a playoff push, and they needed one more player, so they traded for Texas Rangers infielder Mark Teixeira, and he definitely helped the Angels make the playoffs. He was a good fielder and was a very good hitter. Teixeira, but the Angels sadly lost in the division series against the Red Sox. So in 2008, the Angels tried to re-sign Teixeira, but he signed with the New York Yankees. When a team loses a player to free agency, the other team gets a compensation pick, or an extra pick in the draft. The Angels got 2 picks in a row, the 24th and 25th. We don't have to worry about the 24th. He plays with the Blue Jays now. But with the 25th pick, the 25th pick, the Angels selected a player from New Jersey named Mike Trout. He had gone to be my favorite player and arguably the best in the game. On August 23rd, a Trout trading card sold for $3.93 billion at auction. Million auction. Breaking the record for the most expensive sale for a sports card previously held by the 1909 to 1911 Honus Wagner card. But besides from Mike Trout, I admire other players as well. For example, Albert Pujols, Ronald Acuna Jr., Aaron Judge, and Christian Yelich. They play the game with a passion and share that love with their fans. When I'm older, I hope to have a job that I'm also passionate about. Watching my favorite players really motivates me to do better and pursue my goal of having a job that I'm good at but also like doing. Players like Mike Trout and Albert Pujols understand that their influences go far beyond the field, whether it be raising money for an important cause or spreading an important message to help those in need. These players understand that they are role models. Baseball has been a part of my life since I was little. I have been through many cleats, bats, gloves, batting gloves, hats, and helmets. For my Mitzvah project, I'm working with the organization Pitching for Baseball and Softball by collecting equipment to give to the gift of play by providing equipment to children in our country and around the world. Pitching for Baseball and Softball believes that any child who wants to play baseball or softball should have the opportunity to play, and I agree. I would like to thank everyone who donated. They should know that they have made a whole bunch of kids happy. Along with the people who donated, I would like to thank my grandparents for doing everything they do to me. Thank you for taking me to baseball and basketball practices. Thank you for picking me, Cooper and Delaney, up from school. Thanks for the always awesome birthday and Hanukkah presents. And thank you for enrolling me in Sunday school. Thanks to my mom and dad for always helping me, checking up on me, and making me so happy. Also, I'd like to thank Cantor David for helping me with my prayers and also making this setup, as the situation we are in is not so good. Lastly, thank you to all of you who are here today, in person or online. Shabbat Shalom.
Now it's my pleasure to call for your parents to have them share their words with you. You can use that mic there. You can go.
These are awkward and unprecedented times, and so on behalf of my family, I'd like to thank and welcome all those here in person and watching online for sharing with us on this special day, and what a special and momentum day this is. Our son Brody's a young man, so I guess that makes me the old man. Brody's I stand here proudly watching you read from the Torah. I'm reminded of my own bar mitzvah and what a mess I was, and I was. You, however, stand before God, family, and friends today, anything but that. I know this because I've been a witness to your hard work, commitment, and integrity to this process. A process, by the way, you started much later than most, only 3 years ago. I've also been a witness to the man you become. You do everything right and for the right reasons. You are smart, kind, sensitive, determined, and passionate. You are confident but humble, a leader and a role model both on the field and in the classroom. But most importantly at home, as a tremendous example for Cooper and Delaney, truly are the best parts of your mama. As many of you know, Brody Alexander is named for my mom, Bernice, or B, as she was affectionately known, and Amy's grandma, Annette. It is both our greatest sadness that neither one of them got to meet you. But we know that these two very remarkable women would be honored and delighted over the young man you become. And I'm confident that you will continue to do them proud as a namesake. Your grandma B was a larger-than-life personality, with a personality over it. She was 6'3", 6'7" in heels, and when she walked into the room, she owned it. You share with her that you are born leaders. You get your love of performing from her, and her love of life and adventure lives in you. I see her spark of joy in you. Now, your great-grandma Annette was probably the opposite to my mom, in that short to her tall, quiet and calm to my mom's boisterousness, a homebody to my mom's wanderlust. In Grandma Annette, I see your sweetness in it, and her charm. You share that same twinkle in your eye. You share a love of family and togetherness, a love of holidays, and Grandma did love to talk politics, which you have started to appreciate. They would both have a joy to you. And by carrying on their legacy by name and by virtues, they continue to live on in you. As a father, my job, aside from putting a roof over your head and food in your belly, is to use hindsight from all the choices and decisions I've made in my life and impart them onto you. I have already seen you rise in those moments, and I'm so excited to watch and be a part of all the successes and achievements you will accomplish as you navigate this life. But don't rush. I'm so proud of you, and I love you so much.
Great. So Are you gonna go there?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. It's all yours.
I'm gonna say something too.
Good.
Okay. Brody, I stand before you on your bar mitzvah day so full of pride because this has been entirely your choosing. You decided a few years ago that you wanted to pursue your Jewish education, and with everything in your life, your dad and I have let you steer the ship in your pursuits. From the Elmo to Thomas the Train to soccer and football to cooking classes to Harry Potter and playing the cello and guitar to taekwondo to basketball to baseball to skateboarding, your recent interest in learning to sail. You're always up for trying new things and experiences. From a very tiny toddler, you would wake me up at the crack of dawn, so full of energy, and ask me, "Mommy, what are we going to do today?" I have never known you to turn down any opportunity that has come your way, and you're always in a good mood. Any team you are a member, you're always the first to cheer on your fellow teammates. You're regularly willing to help me, your dad, or grandma or grandpa, or your teachers out whenever they need it, without complaint. You consistently lend a helping hand to your brother and sister, as well as quick to tease or tickle them relentlessly as a big brother's job. I've never heard you say a mean thing about anyone, ever. You're a great pet owner, even though you could pick up the poop a little more often in the backyard. You laugh at the silliest things, and I love watching you, Cooper and Delaney, watch America's Funniest Home Videos and laugh at yet another goofy video that I don't think is the least bit funny. You are a good friend to everyone. You love going to school. You've only been sick a handful of times, and one time when you were too sick to go to school, you cried because you, quote unquote, wanted to learn. And yet you still continue to want to learn, and you have a great curiosity for an assortment of interests, for baseball facts and history, and American history and politics, and in music. You excel in your classes, and you just do as you do in just about all of your interests. I know that in the rest of your life, you'll continue to make good choices and do your best because you already do. I'd like to end with a short story. You'll all indulge me. It's important to know where you come from and learn from your past to know where you're going. A few years ago, I was working on our family tree, and this past year I unearthed the story and names of relatives that I never even knew existed, two of which were my great-grandpa Dedman's first cousins, which happened to have the unfortunate tragedy of being Jews who lived in Eastern Europe during World War II. In 1942, Abraham Benjamin and Chaim Elishkevich were brothers who were approximately 20 and 19 years old, and they lived in a thriving Jewish community called Vishneva with their parents, which is in current-day Belarus. In some recent letters I found, Abraham Benjamin wrote about dreaming of immigrating to Israel, and Chaim wrote about learning Russian. In the summer, early fall of 1942, Abraham Benjamin and Chaim and their parents lost their lives simply because they were Jewish. I'm telling this story because I never really knew of these relatives or what happened to them. They were just young men, boys really, who never got a chance at life because of their Jewish heritage. I never even knew their names until a few months ago. So here's the weird thing. Brody Alexander, you share the same initials as Abraham Benjamin, just flip-flopped. Coincidence maybe? I don't know. But your Hebrew name, Baruch Chaim, your middle name is the same name as Chaim. Isn't that crazy? Serendipitous? Did angels come into play? I don't know. But as you forge your path today as a man in the eyes of the Jewish faith, I ask you to remember your cousins before you. Remember their story. Never forget. They were just simple young boys like yourself, with hopes and dreams and whole lives before them, stolen because they were Jewish. I learned something else during my pandemic studies about your name. We always thought that the name Brody was of Irish origin, but I discovered that Brody is also a Hungarian surname of Jewish descent. There's also a Ukrainian city named Brody. From the 17th century until the Holocaust, 70% of the town's population was that of Jewish descent. The city of Brody was a crossroads and a Jewish trade center in the 19th century. The city of Brody still exists today. Maybe someday you can go visit. The city is small, but they do have a Brody Museum of History. Isn't that interesting? I think so. It's kind of weird how things happen like that. So Brody, as we end this Thanksgiving weekend and we ache for the things that we may have missed out on this year, I'm also so grateful and thankful that we have each other and a big, healthy, extended family and friends. I found this quote that resonated with me. Gratefulness is not intimidated by sadness or grief or wishing things were different. Gratefulness honors those things and still chooses to recognize the goodness of today. Brody, we honor the foundation that we have laid for you and for you to forge your own path in your Jewish life. Always remember those who came before you, those who love you and support you. Go live a big, wonderful life. Do great things, do little things greatly. Go travel and explore, meet interesting people, experience different cultures, taste amazing and unique foods. Go find your niche, be happy in all your pursuits, and always be grateful. We will be so proud of you no matter what. I love you so much.
Love you.
Amen. Thank you so much for those beautiful words and blessings. So we say you become a bar mitzvah not only amongst your family and friends, but also amongst your community. And representatives of the community today are live joining us via Zoom. So I'm going to bring us over there. Brody, come over by the computer so that we can see their faces. And I'm going to present to you some of the gifts that are here. We'll hold them up so they can see that they actually do exist. So first, we'll call upon our representative of our board of directors, Matthew Griffin.
Good morning, all, and congratulations to Brody. We are so proud of your hard work and accomplishments. My name is Matthew Griffin, and I am on the board of directors for Temple Beth Shalom. Even in this unfortunate time, you still fulfilled a magnificent mitzvah, and we are humbled by you and your family's commitment to all of our Jewish traditions. Today, I'm recognizing you as a member of our community, and the prayer book that you use today and to prepare for today is a gift from the board. Cantor will also present to you a certificate commemorating today's accomplishment. And lastly, from the board, you will be presented a nifty certificate to put towards a trip to Israel. I also have the honor to present to you a Havdalah candle as a gift from the Temple Beth Shalom youth group. To you, Brody, and to the entire Harris family, Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And next we'll hear from our Brotherhood representative, Lou Siegler. All right, Lou, we can't hear you at the moment. Make sure you're unmuted.
Is he muted?
Yeah, I don't know. So Lou, we're having trouble hearing you. It doesn't say you're muted, but can you check your mic and make sure you're unmuted? While you're checking, we'll come back to you in just a moment. I'm going to turn it over to Brenda Beck, our president of our sisterhood.
Good morning, Brody, and Mazel Tov to you and all of your friends and family who are joining us here today. My name is Brenda Beck, and I'm representing Temple Beth Shalom Sisterhood, and I'm so happy to be able to join with you in this very special occasion. I know this occasion is a little different from what you had envisioned, but please know that it is no less special and memorable for you, for your family, and everyone who gets to share this with you here today. And I know everyone is so very, very proud of you for all of the hard work that you put into it. On behalf of Temple Beth Shalom Sisterhood, I'd like to give you a Kiddush cup for you to use, for you to keep, and for you to always remember this very special day. Mazel tov.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brenda. Okay, we'll send it back to Lou. Let's see if we are able to hear you this time. If not, I can speak on your behalf. No. Let me see if it helps at all. We'll try muting you and unmuting you. I don't know if that helps or not. If not, I'll speak on your behalf. All right. See if that helps at all. Yes, no, maybe something's not connected to the computer. All right. Well, thank you for being here with us, Lou. I'll speak on your behalf. So, on behalf of the Brotherhood presents you with this tzedakah box, with which you can fill it with. They like to call it like a Jewish, piggy bank, and you can fill it with coins and bills or whatnot, and ultimately continue your path forward in doing mitzvah projects. And I know we are currently studying tzedakah, and maybe also help you continue to purchase maybe baseball equipment or sports equipment to help those in need that can't afford it themselves. So thank you all for being with us and celebrating with Brody on this day. So you can bring the GSU back over here, because it's my turn to get to speak to you. So I want to connect it to your Torah portion as I speak my words of blessing to you this morning. So, like I said when we began, this Torah portion is a really special one, and it's one that deals in dreams. And in fact, that the symbol and the theme of dreams is one that comes up not only in this Torah portion, but in just a few weeks when we're amidst Hanukkah, we'll again have one of the most famous stories of dreams in the Torah, which is the story of Joseph, who is an interpreter of dreams. When I think about dreams, I don't know if you ever do this, or any of you out there probably do this, when you have like a really vivid dream. And a lot of us, like I found, like especially during this year, I've been reading articles that people are having more vivid dreams now than ever before, because our minds are just going into so many different new places and trying to comprehend everything that's going around us. I don't know if you've ever woken up and been like, oh my gosh, I had this like crazy or really fun or entertaining dream. And now I'm trying to figure out, what does it mean? And that's what this Torah portion is about. Jacob has this dream, and he wakes up, and it's a rather odd dream. He has this dream that you talked about in your speech, that he dreams that he's on this ladder. Well, he's visioning a ladder, and the ladder is going from him on the ground toward the heavens, and that these angels, and I'll note I am wearing angel red for you this morning with my red talit. So the angels are going up and down the ladder. It's kind of a strange dream. If any one of us had that dream, we'd probably wake up and be like, "Oh, that was weird. What is that about?" So, and the commentators interpret it as, it's this connection between earth and the heavens, and it's Jacob's connection to God. But later on, in the second part that we read this morning, which wasn't part that we put into your speech, but he says this quote, and he says, "I was in this place, and God was there, and I didn't know." And it just reminds me that sometimes we're going to be experiencing things, even in this moment today, throughout this whole year, we've been experiencing things we don't always understand. And ultimately, when we look back on them, we sometimes realize that we've grown as an individual, we've grown as people, or we've been put into a challenge. Sometimes, like, the biggest challenges that we face can be ones where we kind of sigh and go, "Oh, gosh, I have to deal with this." And then we realize later on, it was that challenge itself that made us grow, made us a bigger person, and made us a better person. And if we hadn't experienced that, we wouldn't have gotten to the new level of where we are. And I think there's so much that's there to teach us about that, sometimes the hardest things that we face in life are the ones that make us into the biggest and best people that we become. And so I think it's a beautiful lesson to learn from this week's portion. And I'll just say, in general, I hope that you can grab onto your dreams, whether that's a dream of eventually working for the Angels or playing for the Angels, or keeping your connection to baseball in general. But I hope that you can always pursue your dreams, whether they're vivid and strange ones that you're trying to interpret, or ones that you're just trying to envision as your goals and your pursuits in life. So it's my pleasure to offer you this traditional blessing that comes from the book of Numbers, from our Torah, the priestly benediction, as we will rise and I will open the May God keep you and bless you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. May God's light shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God protect you and grant you the most precious gift, the gift of shalom, the gift of peace. Amen. May this be God's will. We join together in the closing of our service as we turn to page 586. We remain standing as we face the ark for Aliyah. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tekid la'liotze bereshit, shelo asanu k'noyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu k'chol hamonam, v'anavnu kore'im, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Page 591. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Hayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. U'shemo echad. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We think of those recently departed in our community: Irma Buckle, Hannah Elter, Beverly Getty, Ruth Osborne, Michael Aviram. And we think of those whose time of yahrzeit has come: Fanny Bogorod, Irving Borg, Kay Brown, Rose Brownstein, Milton Cohen, Thelma Epstein, Esther Feldman, Matthew Flore, Suzanne Goodman, Millie Groner, Sherry Landsman, Evelyn Lasik, Mary Lever, Max Lever, Mary Lee Mandel, Stanley Meisner, Dora Perkle, Kay Rice, Clara Schneider, Harry Silver, Stuart Simon, Jacqueline Smith, Elizabeth Spitzer, Ida Stein, Jack Sussman, Lucille T., Jim Weinstein, Stephen Weiss, Jay Wellens, Norman Yastrobe. If anyone here is observing a yahrzeit or Kaddish for anyone today, please feel free to share their name. And to anyone who's watching out there, if you are observing a yahrzeit or Kaddish for Shiva Shloshim Shana or a yahrzeit, please feel free to put their name also in the Facebook chat window, or you can feel free to say their name out loud at this time as we join together in saying Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitasei, yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei l'kudusha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, B'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom libramav, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, to which we say, Amen.
Amen.
So I left off one other thing that we are going to be sending to you. I wrote my note here, and I just saw it on my folder. We have, well, I kind of have planted a tree in your honor in Israel. I flew there like this week, came back. Amazing. So, so I hope that eventually you will get to go visit it, and you'll see when you one day travel to Israel, you'll see that in a country that is so much of a desert, the Jewish National Fund, which is an American and worldwide organization, has spent a tremendous amount of time over many decades planting rows of trees. And they may even be pointed out to you. They may say that these are the rows of trees, and you'll see lots of greenery amongst a country that is quite desert-like. And they do a lot of other wonderful things. But you now have a tree in your name, and there'll be a certificate that's on its way to your house that you'll get to like frame it and be like, "That's my tree." So number whatever, you know. So congratulations, you now own a little stake of land in Israel. We're gonna bring out some challah and juice. So it will call up your parents and your brother and sister to join in right here. We're going to bring that out for you guys, and then we'll do the blessing over that, Shehechianu, and then we'll end with Osei Shalom. All right, we begin with the sweetness of Shabbat with the juice.
Thank you.
It won't hurt you. Don't drink it just yet. We're going to do the blessing first. All right.
I got it.
Great, got it. We join together in the blessing over the juice and the Shehechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higyanu lahazman hazeh. L'chaim. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, for lifting us up, for sustaining us, and for bringing us to this celebratory moment. Amen. We uncover the challah. Now, the last thing you have to do today, which you haven't practiced, is hold the challah. Here, I think you can do that, right? Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz v'te'avon. Right. Feel free to break off a piece for yourself, share it with your family. As we join in our closing song, thank you all for joining us. Osei Shalom Kimrocham Uyasei Shalom Aleinu Ve'Avo Yisrael Ve'imenu Amen. Osei Shalom Kimrocham Uyasei Shalom Aleinu Ve'Avo Yisrael Ve'imenu Amen. Osei Shalom Kimrocham Uyasei Shalom Aleinu Ve'Avo. We got a Dakota dance out there. Yisrael. Amen. Osei Shalom Bimromav, Aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'Avo Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Thank you, Cantor.
Cantor, really, thank you. That was wonderful.
Shabbat shalom. Love you guys.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Yes, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Mary. Mary, thank you.
Oh, Mazel Tov.
Our pleasure. Brody, sensation. Wonderful job.
I really like your chocolate.
Oh, thank you. This was given to me when I started this.
Unusual.
It was custom made because these are all my favorite colors. So I don't wear it that often because I wear a lot of blues and stuff. So it was perfect for today. So I was trying to bring it right.
I wasn't kidding when I picked up that one for Brody.
Yeah.
He was the age of the other two.
Yeah.
I just like the pretty thing. So I
Yeah.
said, I've got to find one.
I have one. It's Aliyah that looks very similar though. Let's bring back.
Then I can say it's pretty, but isn't that girly?
Yeah.
I got water in the car, which I like.
Let's see. Kind of.
Just picking them up because I saw the canter out there.
I saw you say something about yeah. Oh my god, I see the 10 million a day.
You know, what?
I love how you worked all that angel stuff in there.
You were waiting for someone to be high to listen to you about that. No, I want the crack. No, you're gonna eat the whole hog. Where do you think that? I don't even know.
Mazel tov.
If you're a man, a lot is expected now.
So now you on the grass.
No more funny stuff.
I think you're asking too much of him right now.
Well, we really appreciate you guys coming. And